Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Stephen Calamusa. Thank you for joining us today for this Tiger TV special report. We will bring you live to the Holiday Forum featuring former U.S. Senators John Breaux and Bennett Johnston. The program has already started, so we're going to go live now to the journalism building.
Ahead of others who may be primping for the media, but in either case, Senator Breaux, as you know, was elected to Congress in 1972 at the age of 28. And that's a pretty remarkable turn of events. Has served as well a long and a distinguished career. In '86, he went into the U.S. Senate. He has been a distinguished professor here at the Manship School and is, obviously, you know, the Breaux Symposium and the Riley Center for Media and Public Affairs. He served as deputy majority whip on several other committees, particularly dealing with Social Security and family policy and the National Bipartisan Commission on the Future of Medicare, topic of some consequence, and on the centrist coalition for Senate Democrats and Republicans, and served as chair of the Democratic Leadership Council, and remains as well active in public policy and policymaking. Our objective today is to hear from two people about what I think many people find to be we call it a crisis, but a deep concern of many of us who follow American politics and American politicians, and that is what seems to be a decline in civility in the political process. And I was telling them both we have a mutual friend in a senator from New Mexico I got to know named Pete Domenici. And I saw Pete Domenici about 2 weeks ago, and when he had decided not to run again, I'd asked him why, and he's had some health problems, but he also said it's not what it used to be. There was a time when we came together across party lines and across the aisle to make great policy. And at the end of heated debates on public policy, we remained friends and we remained civil to one another. And he at least expressed a fear that that civility has somehow escaped the U.S. Senate and the U.S. Congress and perhaps the public dialogue. And we've seen that to some extent over the summer with a variety of organizations, whether you appreciate them or not, grassroots organizations, Tea Parties and others, who I think have turned the dialogue much more mean-spirited than it needs to be in public policy. So our objective today is to hear from two veterans, young veterans who have had a chance to participate in and observe the process and share with us their perspective on how to, if not return, certainly foster civility in the public dialogue. And I'm going to turn it over to Professor Bob Mann, who will be from here on out the moderator. But let me once again say how much we appreciate you participating and indicate that I just informed the students out in the quad at Fall Fest that my prediction is 34-10 Tigers tomorrow. But I also said the Twins would beat the Yankees in the first game of the, but that's another matter. So thank you for joining us, gentlemen. Thank you for being two distinguished senators. Go Tigers, and it's up to you, Bob. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Chancellor. My name is Bob Mann. I'm a professor here at the Manship School. But my real claim to fame and the thing that I'm really proud of today is the fact that I worked for both of these men. Worked for Senator Johnston in his re-election campaign in 1990 against David Duke, and it's one of the things that I'm most proud of in my career in public service. And then the man to his left, Senator Breaux, was my boss for 17 years, and I'm very proud of my association with both of them. I do want, before we get started with questions that I have for them, to introduce a few people that are important to these men. I just saw Lois Breaux, Senator Breaux's wife, and daughter Julie just walked in. Senator Johnston's wife Mary is here, and son Hunter, and daughter Mary, and grandson. And so we have a lot of, and we also have a lot of family and former staff of both senators who are here today. And finally, I also want to acknowledge a few elected officials, and I learned from both these guys not to do this. So. But I see Senator Mike Michaud and Senator John Smith, who are both here. Former Congressman Chris John and the Mayor President of Baton Rouge, East Baton Rouge Parish, Kip Holden. If I've not acknowledged any other elected officials, I'm sorry. No, I mentioned Chris. Oh yeah. Thank you. But if former Congressman Chris John is. What we'd like to do is start with a few questions from me that I've shared with these gentlemen ahead of time, and do that for about 20 minutes or so, and then we're going to open up the questions to the audience, and and ask you to pose your questions to these men about the topic of civility in public life, which is certainly something that is on everyone's mind given the event the last few years, and particularly over the summer when we saw some very uncivil behavior on the floor of the House of Representatives and in town hall meetings around the country. But the first thing that I want to ask these two gentlemen, in no particular order, is when you came to Congress, when you both came to Congress many, many years ago, you in the Senate, Senator Breaux in the House, who were the models, who were your models, who did you look up to as models for civility and how to conduct yourself when you were doing your work?
Well, you're looking at me, Bob. I'd have to say Russell Long as the first. Russell Long was a legend in Washington. He was, first of all, a very skilled legislator. He, one of the things that he could do better than anybody I've ever seen on the floor of the Senate is when he had one of these really tough Finance Committee bills, that's taxation. And everybody was concerned about taxes. Russell would be able to tell an Uncle Earl story or another funny story, and it was so brilliant the way he was able to do that and break the ice. Everybody'd be mad and then they'd be laughing, and Russell had that skill. And his interaction with his colleagues was something I tried to emulate because they all love Russell. And I could name some others, but I think I'd put Russell just right at the top. He was a wonderful, wonderful colleague as well as being an outstanding senator.